EVP take 2, location room next to the hatch.
Hey guys, Knight here. This story is unfolding as I speak. It is coming from the 4chan X board that is a community for those that take a liking to the paranormal. The original poster has been having strange vibrations and paranormal experiences since he moved into his house 2 years ago. When he went into his attic, he found out why. I will be reading out the original post's conversations on the forum. Here we go. I just checked my unused attic space above my bedroom for the first time since moving here in 2014. I found a nice surprise hanging on my support beams. The 2 big bones were hanging by a single rope right above the hatch in my bedroom ceiling, and the small ones were hanging on another beam on a piece of rope with the button stitched to another supportive piece of cloth wrapped in iron wire. Calling the cops tomorrow? Oh well. Finally explains all the scary weird shit going on here at night. Scary things is, I opened the hatch a few times and shined a light to scan for any objects in the past, and never noticed bones right above my head. Oh, I forgot to mention the small bones being wrapped in the cloth, which seemed to have a lot of brown stains, which I presume is dried blood. Immediately, the 4chan community became skeptical, so they asked the original poster to take a timestamp picture for proof. Once the original poster proved that in fact he was real, the 4chan community started asking questions and telling the original poster to call the police. OP here. I ended up calling the police, but the cops did not have time until the morning to come out and investigate. He went on to explain that his ex-girlfriend is a white witch. A white witch means you worship Mother Nature, the earth, the goddess, and the god. She came over to his home to see what these bones could be. Crazy shit. The hatch is just a square plank in the ceiling you have to push upwards, and it opens. P.S. My ex-girlfriend is a white witch. She has felt a presence many times in my bedroom. I dated this girl for almost 2 years and seen and heard a lot of shit that seemed very sketchy. But I started believing more and more, even though I have always been extremely skeptical about these things. Once I opened it to show her, after 30 seconds she told me calmly that I need to close it because the presence that was around was now in full panic. On a weird note, once every few days something falls over, including heavy objects like a full 2-liter bottle. I recently had my electrical heater turned off out of nowhere right behind me. I also had an ashtray fall from the middle of the shelf right next to me. Probably the most disturbing ones were of a girl that once stayed over. She had awoken at around 3:15 a.m. The hatch was open. Not realizing how to open it and thinking it blew open since I slept with my window open. She went to sleep again and awoke at 4:25 a.m. to it being closed again. My ex-girlfriend once saw a British soldier standing in my room for about 45 seconds straight. I lived in an area that was bombed and fought in during World War II. Another time, my ex and I were walking downstairs as she was about to leave. The hallway was dark. Suddenly she stopped mid-staircase, telling me calmly something was standing in the hallway. After about 15 seconds of silence, I asked her what she felt. She told me it was evil. Suddenly it was gone again. We never saw or felt it again. The last thing that I heard was yesterday evening from my brother-in-law. He once slept in my room with me when I was going through a breakup, and he had woken up to see a face staring at him, then smiling. He told me he felt a comforting, worried feeling coming from the presence. When he came to visit earlier, I showed him the bones. His first reaction was, "I dreamt about this last night in full detail." Guys, this is too much to handle. I haven't slept comfortably in my bed for so long, it's horrible. So yeah, finding this is concerning. The 4chan community told him to get out of there as fast as he can, as he has unsettled the spirit that the bones belong to. Everyone seemed to be very worried, wondering what happened to the OP, as he had not posted for a while. Hey guys, I'm fine. I am chatting with my brother-in-law. This all happened about 6 hours ago. No activity yet. I'm dreading having to go to sleep. My friend who was with me when I found it is sleeping in the room next to my bedroom. I haven't heard him scream, so I guess he's either dead or fine. My ex-girlfriend came over. She examined the bones and told me to call the cops. She could feel the presence around us, and she said it was feeling both uncomfortable, nervous, worried, and glad at the same time, she told me. The OP then began to figure out when the last time someone could have been in the attic. The attic has been insulated and has electric wiring running through the ceiling to multiple rooms, so it couldn't have been more than 10 to 20 years that someone has been up there. That's the weird part. I have the feeling that I am not alone when being in the room. The 4chan community gave us some tips to communicate. Try to speak to it, and if anything happens, don't lose your shit and swear the hell out of the spirit as if it were humans being unwelcomed in your house. The more fear, the more power to get a negative backlash. The more anger, the more scared shitless it will be. It's like punching a shark in the nose. Predators aren't used to something fighting back. Another user posted, "Smudge the house, starting from the attic down." OP here. I am calling the authorities in a few hours. I may try an EVP session tonight. Who knows? Reason is I'm not a fan of rituals, because my ex-girlfriend talked me out of them. She didn't perform them out of fear. I didn't mention I filmed the discovery for identification purposes. Here's a pic of the 2 bones upon discovery. This is the first of 2 discoveries. This was found the first time I entered the attic. After removing it, examining and discussing, I realized I hadn't checked for anything else in the attic. The 4chan community began to think of alternative motives for the bones. What if this guy just murdered someone and this is a sick way of letting us know? Hey guys, OP here. I'm gonna call the cops now. I will notify everyone when they get here. The cops are coming over now. I will keep you all notified. Everyone was thinking, what could this be? They jumped together to find an explanation. Are you sure they're human bones? Also, why would someone hang bones like that? For rituals? So many unanswered questions. Another user commented, just by looking at the pictures, those bones are decades old. There isn't going to be an investigation into the matter as the person who placed them there is likely dead. At best, they might question the previous owner of the home. Another user said, so you put the bones in a box? And then told the paranormal community? You realize it could be an old abduction, murder, or anything. And you've handled it. OP here again. I explained to the 2 officers in the picture what happened. Showed them the evidence and such. They didn't know for sure if it was bone. They suspected the smaller bones to be made of wood, but the bigger bones made them weary of the situation. They called an investigator over, and after taking a statement of me and my friend, they left with the video evidence as well. I will hear more after they test it. I am too tired to do an EVP session tonight, since I didn't sleep well last night. I will post if anything unusual happens. I will definitely EVP tomorrow night and post. Everyone was excited to see if the OP experienced anything overnight and continued to investigate the findings. Go to sleep and see if any sleep paralysis happens. See if the identity speaks to you. Post results. Okay, here's my suggestion. It is really hard to see if those bones are human or not. I compared the pictures to bones from a cow and bones from a human. I think they are too small to be from a cow, which doesn't mean they can't be from a different animal. If they are human, I say the one bone can be a tibia bone, lower leg. Judging by its size and shape, the other big bone I guess is the ulna bone, lower arm. I would even go so far to say that they might be from a female. It is hard to say though, as the bones are broken on one end. The smaller bones can be from hands and feet, but they could also be fragments from ribs or arm bones. That's my idea. Another user said, I just studied the human skeleton in my college course yesterday, and this is literally almost exactly identical to the textbook pic of a human femur. OP here. I did not mention I filmed half the discovery purely because I did not know what to do with recording, and I did not want people begging for it. I removed the sound for identity purposes. Here's the first video. The first part is right after the first find. The second is after me realizing I hadn't checked further. In the beginning of the video, we immediately saw the two bones hanging above the hatch. The video is private on YouTube. Then there was more investigation theories from the 4chan community. Uh-oh, OP. Those are almost certainly a child's bone, seeing as this is Belgium. Well, you know what happened in the late 90s. I think the spirit wanted those bones to be found so they could rest. Like others are saying, I think that's a hex bag. This might be some spooky pedo killer ritual shit. Another user commented, here are some bones to compare yours to. They're a splitting image of what I'd have to deal with on a regular basis. Human bones tend to be longer and thinner in the middle. OP here. Just saw my best friend for the first time since the discovery. We talked about it. We suddenly realized we had checked the attic for something about 2 months after I moved in, and we saw nothing like what we found. Judging by the bone marrow in the bag, they must have been hanging there for a very long time. The state of the bag is extremely fragile, and the iron wire is fully rusted. Judging by the two bones, you can definitely see spider webs hanging on them covered in dust. I have opened that hatch a number of times and have also never experienced nothing of this sort. It just baffles me. The community then gave tips on how to cleanse the house and keep the presence at bay. You should definitely put salt on it and then bury it in the backyard with extra salt. So I decided I will check under the insulation probably tomorrow, if not in a few days. Me and my best friend sat together again this afternoon to discuss our trip to the attic 2 years ago, and came to the conclusion we did not see anything like what I found. People have been talking here about them being deer bones. My friend's mother is a nurse who could immediately identify the biggest bone as the top of the leg of a human. My brother-in-law also thought they were child's bones. At least definitely the smaller ones. He thought they could be from a teen. On the furthest end of the attic, there's also a bundle of rope hanging from the main support beam, which cannot be seen in the video. You can, however, see in the video that there's a plank going right towards the rope's location. I'm gonna do an EVP session tonight at 3 AM alone. God damn it, my curiosity is gonna get me killed. I went over to my friend's dad and he gave me blessed salt. Apparently it got blessed by a priest, so I laid it on the edges of the plank in the attic. Also, the news called. They already picked up the story in one way or another and asked what the situation was. If the test turns out to be a positive on human DNA, they will come over. This shit is just still insane, guys. I have done 2 EVP sessions this evening and last night, and I am posting them on private links on YouTube. More will follow starting Friday. I have heard nothing yet so far, but maybe you people can find something.
EVP take 2, location room next to the hatch, time 3:38 AM. This is gonna be the 3rd EVP I will do in about 15 minutes tonight. Since I felt weird random vibrations coming from the floor, since everybody here has gone to bed, that shit ain't normal. Is there anyone here who would like to speak with me? I see iemand, no problem met mij.
I will be able to make another EVP in an hour or 2. We'll post links soon. Well boys, EVP Take 3 has been made, and this one is a bit different. I heard one knock in real life, which was about 2 meters away from me, in the room next to the hatch. The second knock was heard only after listening to the footage. Definitely recommend reviewing this one for yourself. The most disturbing thing I experienced, however, was my vision turning from black darkness to a dark reddish color. The darkness literally changing from black to red in a mere 2 seconds would be the best way to describe it. I first thought it to be the red illuminating button from my electrical socket, but then I realized it couldn't have been. It was like the red came from somewhere, but I was so preoccupied with my surroundings and the recording, I didn't think much more of it. Now, however, it really doesn't feel right. Never experienced this before. Please review this. Headphones recommended.
EVP take 3, location under the hatch again. Time, right now it's 3:09 AM. fucking hate this, man. Really uncomfortable every single time. Is somebody here? Is er iemand hier? If you're here, can you show me a sign? Als je hier bent, kan je mij een teken geven. Terrible as fuck. I kept seeing like reddish instead of darkness. I don't know what the fuck that was. First time ever experiencing that. I'll type it down below.
The community started to get freaked out. Your vision turning red? This is super creepy. OP here. I know, right? Thinking back to it, it may have come from the same corner of the room next to the hatch, where the first knock came from. Can't remember where the second knock came from though. I have no clue when the DNA results will come in. All they said was, if it is human, we will contact you. If it is not, you won't hear from us again. The 4chan community investigated the EVP recordings. There's a sound coming through. It sounded a little bit like a gust of wind, but more whistly. I replayed it, and I get the same sense each time. OP here. I just checked it out, and you're right. I hear it as well. Tomorrow evening I will try to post another entry. There's another EVP coming in a few hours, guys. This is the last we have heard from the original poster. I will keep everyone up to date on anything else that transpires. But so far, I haven't heard anything from him for more than 24 hours.